pick up what I believe is the greatest games lineup in Xbox history. Nintendo itself is being transformed.
Proud to announce that Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming first to PlayStation 4.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode on our annual Road to E3 podcast that we do every single year. All we change is the year. So this year we've got the Road to E3 2018. I am Matt from Cinelinx.com. We've also got the Fathergamer himself, Mr. Eric Gibbs. How are you doing, buddy?
I am fantastic, ready to go. It should be an interesting year. I'm kind of excited. No, I'm not kind of excited. I'm super excited. So ready.
Very good. Well, I think we're all excited, but I think there's one person on this podcast that is probably more excited than any of us put together times 5. It is your boy Solab. Caleb, how you doing, buddy?
What is good, my brochas? It's about to go down. It's your boy Celeb from Second Opinion Productions, secondopinionpod.com for the latest and greatest game news for you. I am super excited, man. You know, I've been doing this for a little chunk of time.
Yeah.
It's been since I was 17 and I'm 30 now. And for years I've been like, you know, I go to all these smaller shows and I've always been that person been like, I'm ready to go to E3. I'm ready to go to E3. And my dudes at Cinelinx were like, you know what? You bust your badonkadonk and we're going to take you to E3 this year. And I'm super excited to be part of the team. So I'm glad to be part of the Road to E3 podcast. Let's do it.
It's one of the greatest things going with someone who hasn't been. It's like going to Disney World with your kids for the first time. When you walk in and just look at their eyes, and then they usually pass out. So it's fantastic. Yeah. We're excited, and we won't run.
And this is actually going to be we're excited to have you, and this is actually going to be the biggest crew we've ever taken to E3. We actually have a fourth who's not with us today, but BC is going to be joining us as well. So it's going to be really cool to have a big team at the Los Angeles Convention Center for a whole week. It's going to be absolutely nuts. I mean, just think about it. Like, for the last few years, I mean, outside of last year when we had the incomparable Aaron join us, it was basically just me and Eric. Eric and I did it for 2 years by ourselves, just having to wade our way through the sea of people just to play whatever games were coming out, you know? So it's really amazing to have all these passionate, excited people joining us on this journey.
Welcome aboard, Caleb.
Hey, man, I am glad to be here. You know, me and Matt have talked about it for years, for about 5 years now of working together, and I'm glad to be here. Eric, I've known you for a good bit of time as well.
Yep.
Mike, I know you're not on the mic right now, but still, shout out to you.
Producer Mike. Shout out to Producer Mike.
And shout out to my boy BC. I'm excited for E3 with BC. So,
man, I love BC. He's so funny. It's like, hey, man, are you excited for E3? He's like, bro, I'm excited for LA. And you're like, bro, are you excited for E3? He's like, dude, I just want to see Xbox create some sort of music stuff. I have no idea what he's even talking about. He's like, we write this article for E3 2018, what we want to see. And that's actually going to be the main focus of this first episode. And I love it because everybody chimed in. You know, we had Caleb, we had Eric, Jordan came in with some stuff. We also had Dustin, who's been to E3 a few times. And then here comes BC with one thing. And he's like, Xbox to finally be able to utilize custom soundtracks. He doesn't give a description. Okay. It's just, that's all. That's all he says.
I've got your fix already, BC. Yes, it does cost you a little bit. It costs you $10 a month. Spotify works on Xbox now. You can make your your list and play it during any games you're playing. There you go.
Here's the problem with that is that I don't think you understand how cheap BC is.
Okay. So you buy a CD player, you make yourself a mix CD and you listen to it while you're playing. That's the only other.
Well, the good thing
I don't
too.
think you know BC because BC is one of the laziest people in the world.
Well, I can't help him.
I was gonna say, with Hulu now, you can actually add Spotify to your account, and it only boosts it up. Like me and my wife originally had the $11.99 commercial free Hulu, and now we pay $12.99 and we get Spotify Premium with no additional cost. It's like $1 extra a month.
Well, damn.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
yeah.
Something they did about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I think. So,
by the way, the Fathergamer podcast is on Spotify. Just gonna put that out.
Check it out.
Yeah,
check it out.
Very nice. I believe the Second Opinion Productions podcast is also going to be on Spotify here soon, too, right?
Yes, it is waiting approval right now. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play Music as well. You can find us on Anchor, Podbeam, all kinds of crap. So it's all over the place, man.
And you can just find Cinelinx.com on Cinelinx.com. So just check that out. All right. So cheap plugs aside, let's get into the nitty gritty of this whole thing.
They're very expensive.
We have a whole marketing team that's sitting there just telling us, here's a card, sir. Please go ahead and read this next. Yep. Get down there, Jamie. Anyway, so let's get into it. So we're going to talk about a few things. The main topics of this first episode of the Road to E3 2018. We're going to go into what we want to see, and we're going to talk about everything that we wrote in our article for our first Road to E3 2018 article. Then we're going to talk about just some personal accomplishments we want to see at the event from ourselves. And then the last thing are the top 3 pressers from each of us that we think are the best or will be or what we're most excited for. So let's get down to it. Let's talk about what we want to see. And I want to start with Eric. Eric, you brought up a couple of great points for your list. And first of all, you talked about how you want PS1 on PS4. Can you go into that one?
Okay, so why? I mean, really, honestly, it's not that hard to emulate. It's not even in PlayStation Now, and I just don't see the reason why not. It just doesn't make any sense. And I like archival gaming. I like the next generation to be able to play the classics. And I know some games, like some of the Final Fantasies and stuff, they're bringing them back out on PS4, but it would be really nice to just have that library that you could get to, especially if I've already bought it. Like, I just don't understand, like, as Xbox has moved forward with the backwards compatibility, I'm sorry, I feel like, and I love PlayStation, I think that's one of the things they're missing out on. And I know it's because of PlayStation Now. I know that's a huge factor in it, but it's time to get some of those on PS4.
I'd have to agree with you too. Like, since PlayStation 4 was even announced, like whenever the console war started of PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One, I mean, Xbox was pretty open about the fact that they were really going to, work hard on getting us backward compatibility, and they actually accomplished that, despite a lot of other issues that they've incurred.
Right.
But Sony, that's like the one thing that they haven't done, and that's in any generation. They haven't done it, and it's insane to me.
As a gamer who loves to play stuff from all times, it's nice on the Xbox, which I have to admit, mostly I have 360 and Xbox original games on, but
it's your retro system.
It has become that, but it is nice sometimes. It's almost like a little mini Christmas morning to wake up and see, Knights of the Old Republic is available, or like on May the 4th, Knights of the Old Republic 2 and a bunch of old Xbox One original Star Wars games were available. I want that on. I want that on my PlayStation. I love my PlayStation. I just feel like that's where it's lacking. The fact that I had to go back out and repurchase a PS3 to basically play a bunch of games that I might never see again on PlayStation, it seems ridiculous to me. Because one, it's money, and two, it's money. So I just don't understand it.
What game would you want to see the most be backwards compatible?
Okay, if we're talking PS1, I mean, there's a whole plethora of Square games, of course, whatever. I don't know. I think I'd have to think about that for a minute because there's just so many PS1 games that are still good. Well, we're getting Spyro, I guess, like the remaster, but I guess most of the RPGs would probably be the stuff, the JRPGs.
All right. I'm gonna make this hard. You can think about it. I'm gonna let you guys think about this until the end of Eric's.
Favorite story.
You're stuck on a desert island.
Okay.
And you only have one PS4. You have only a PS4 and only one PS1 game that can be put on the PS4. Think about it. We'll get back to that in a little bit.
I think all of us should answer that one. That one, yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. No. Everybody. I want everybody.
So wait. What was the question again?
All right. So you're stuck on a desert island.
Uh-huh.
You have your all you have with
electricity. That has electricity. Apparently,
for some reason it does. And you have one PS4 with you and a TV. But on that PS4, everything's been wiped except for one PS1 game.
Well, now I don't want the PS1 games on it if that's all I'm going to get.
Okay. It's whatever. It's a survival situation.
Okay.
Anyway, so think about that. We'll get back to that at the end of Eric's list. Eric, we were talking about a second ago. We were talking about Xbox and how they've actually done the backwards compatibility, but they also are the first ones to come out with the most powerful system ever.
Yeah.
And you want to see something happen with it.
Well, okay, it is I've had lots of time with it. I don't have one personally because, well, I don't have the money. And that's the problem. It is a great system. I've been hearing that they're discontinuing production of the original version of the Xbox One. Anyway,
that makes sense. I mean, they have the Xbox One S, and now the one we're talking about, which is the Xbox One X.
I think we need to see at least announced for the fall a pretty sizable price cut. Like I think that the initial early adopters have done it. And then it's time to drop it, and whatever big game they're going to announce, tie it in with it. Like, it just has to. I
don't know if it's going to happen though, man. I mean, you got to think their console sales have not been very great, even with the introduction of the Xbox One X. And I mean, it's still early, bro. It just came out last year, correct?
Yeah. It's been a year.
So I would honestly, I mean, I would be shocked. It would be awesome because I would like to purchase one myself, but
yeah, it's just,
I would be very, very shocked if they came out and said, we're going to cut it by, $100. If they cut it by $100, then they've got to have something in their back pocket.
Eric will remember last year whenever we left the Microsoft press conference. I mean, we went in there with high hopes.
Not a happy camper.
I was not. I mean, we went in there with high hopes that Xbox was going to give us a reason to buy an Xbox One X. And they didn't. I mean, really, they didn't. All they showed us were a bunch of games that you could get anywhere else except for a few indie titles that were exclusives. And then, I mean, the rest of it was like, oh, well, it's still going to be available on Xbox One and Xbox One S. But, you really should get it on Xbox One X that costs $500.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's the exclusive? Where's the one thing that's going to be like, oh, this is the end all be all. I have to buy an Xbox One X.
And you know what I'm seeing, too, is which is funny, the $300 system, which is the Switch, I'm seeing more people gravitate towards that and a PS4 than anything to do with Xbox. So, they're gonna have to do something.
It's like you've got this all-in-one entertainment system, and that's great and all.
It's a beautiful
but
system.
It's about the games, and that's what Nintendo has been really leaning on is their games that they've really leaned on forever. Yeah. But they're updating them, and it makes sense and it works. PlayStation, they've got all these exclusives, and they're paying attention more to the games. Granted, the PlayStation itself is probably not used to the highest of its capability, except for like God of War. Yeah. But at the same time,
it's chugging on God of War. You can, yeah.
But at the same time, like Xbox, I just don't understand why Microsoft is all about the tech and less about the reasons for the tech.
It's because Microsoft and PlayStation switched seats. If you guys don't remember, whenever the PlayStation 3 came out, that was their biggest thing, is that the PlayStation 3 was a extreme high-powered console, the highest powered console of all time. We had all these weird ass commercials, all this stuff that was happening of, how it was this it was this processor that had never been used before. It was used in missiles and blah, 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 blah.
Baby
and guess
videos.
What? Exactly. Yeah. And guess what? It did not have the games to support the system. They had literally, even developers came out and said, hey, this is tech we've never even used before. We don't even know how to use this, so.
And that's, sorry to interrupt, but that's the thing with the Xbox. It's not hard to make an Xbox game. Like it's pretty easy to port. But the problem is the adoption rate. The problem is, sometimes even the store. It's hard to get seen on the store, and this is coming from the developer side. And so you really have to look into those variables when you want to put a game on Xbox. And when you add to the fact, well, if I want to do, the Pro is outselling the Xbox One X. If I'm going to do a high functioning sort of 4K game, I'm probably going to put it on the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And so they've got to do something. I don't know what it is. The only thing I can think of is a price cut and some kind of real reason to have one.
I'm going to tell you right now, we talked about it on the last episode of the Second Opinion Podcast, episode 210. We said it. I said it. TJ said it. Bolt said it. Plain and simple. The best way to sell the console as a whole is exclusives. If they come out, I mean, we talked about this before. Let them come out. Now I know this is a huge, fireball that obviously everybody thinks it will never happen, and it probably won't. If we remember, Gabe Newell came out a while back and said a few months ago that Valve is getting back into the development scene. And I'm just saying this is just an example. If Valve came out and said, "Hey, we're back. We're making Left 4 Dead 3. And we also got another thing. Half-Life 3 is going to come out. It's exclusive to the Xbox." If they said it was exclusive and it was never going to any other console, those are the type of games that will sell consoles. Absolutely. God of War. God of War. I'm telling you guys, there's 3 dudes in the town I live in that are huge Xbox fans that bought a PS4 for God of War, and they do not regret it.
Look at BC too. He's been an Xbox faithful for years, and the reason why he's buying a PlayStation 4 is for Spider-Man because it's an exclusive.
And exclusive and custom soundtracks.
Exactly.
Well, Eric, why don't we go through a couple more of your list? Why don't you come, tell us what the rest of them are?
Well, I mean, I really, I'm a Yakuza fan, like pretty hardcore.
No, you?
Yeah, just
never.
Just a little bit. By the way, the review's coming really soon for 6. I kind of got sidetracked on the review, but I really love the series. It's just the right, crazy Japanese JRPG-ish kind of thing mixed with action and all that, and great noir type of storytelling. And the last game 6 that came out was the last supposedly game with the main protagonist for the series, and they've announced that there is a new protagonist. Actually, they had them meet up in a ad the other day in Japan and kind of pass the baton, I guess, or torch or whatever, passing things you do. And I really I'm hoping to see something like more than just that at E3. I want to see a trailer. I want to see. It's got to be in pretty full production already. I know they've got Kiwami 2 coming out. I think September, or something like that, which is the remake of the second game. But I love that series. I don't know if you guys have ever played it, any of the series, but it's just one of my. We all kind of have that one series that we just no matter what we play. And for some reason, I really love that series. So
if they do make any sort of announcement or release, do you think it's going to be at the Sony press conference?
Well, they've all been Sony exclusives. So there's a possibility. And since Zero, because before Zero, almost nobody cared. Like it was just a select few of us that seemed to really like the games. And then Zero came out and it was on PS4, and I noticed there was this huge surge. And because if you look, even 5 didn't get a physical release in North America. It was only digital. And now they're all getting physical releases with special editions, and they're selling very well. So
I think it's just now starting to come into people in this region, finally realizing the type of games there are. Now, it's not something that I've played before, but with PlayStation Now, I've gone back. I've played some of the Yakuza games that are on there. And the gameplay is fantastic. I think I think it's definitely something I'm going to get into.
It's pretty much a spiritual successor to Shenmue. That's
okay.
That's the best way, because it has like the virtual fighter type fighting style, and you explore, and there's no toy collecting or anything. Actually there is, but it's just a weird quirky title. Like the side quest, I would highly recommend picking up 0, and the side quests are actually some of the funniest things you'll ever play in a game. They're just weird. 6 had some really weird stuff, so I'm just hoping to see more from this series, and I'm hoping to actually see a lot more from Sega. I'm hearing some really cool stuff, so maybe Sega will finally. It kind of feels like they're getting a little more of a rebirth this year.
They need to start having their own press conference too.
I don't know if they're quite big enough yet. Not yet. But I have this sinking suspicion. Some of the stuff I'm hearing, and also now with Shenmue coming out, the collection, and Shenmue 3 eventually coming out at some point.
After Kingdom Hearts comes out, that's going to be your new Kingdom Hearts.
Pretty much. I've been stalking Yu Suzuki for like 20 years, so he has to make it. Otherwise, I won't give him his dog back. So, so yeah. And then also my other big thing, really, I'm really want to know about is real world uses for VR, not just on PC but on consoles, because I really think that's how VR is gonna be successful. Like some utilitarian thing that everyone feels like they need to do. They have to have VR for it, not just gaming, which I know sounds counterintuitive to a gaming machine, but I think that's an important thing. And I've been saying that for years now.
All right. Yeah. I mean, that would see. I think real world uses for VR have already kind of started to get integrated little by little.
Little by little.
It's not been this game changing thing like it would have like if you watch like Sword Art Online or something like that.
Right.
Or like
and
just hop in.
We're really far away from Ready Player One. Like we're nowhere near that.
That was my biggest disappointment with Ready Player One, was that I left it not being able to actually play it.
Yeah, all of us want to be Voltron. But it I have friends, and I've worked a little bit with a lot of game companies that their sole thing is making VR, and they do very well, but they're not as prevalent as they should be right now. I mean, the problem is, okay, let's just look at PS4. Like, PC stuff aside, PC people are used to messing with wires and stuff and all that. Console people aren't as much. They don't really like messing around with peripherals. And I remember when Mike and I first hooked up the PlayStation VR, it was like hooking up like 6 cords, 7 cords, something like that. Yeah, it's like pretty big. Yeah, and it's like hooking up like some kind of game DVR like to your laptop and routing it through. Is like doing some kind of weird. It's just too much, and it needs to be streamlined.
It does. I mean, all the wires and everything on any sort of VR system has gotten just excessive.
With the recent price cuts I've been seeing on the PSVR, I think we're going to get a streamlined PSVR.
I believe it. I absolutely 100% believe it. But it would be nice to see VR make. It's kind of you can't really say make a comeback, because it didn't really do anything.
Well, no, it's doing okay. The sales are doing okay, even on
just
PlayStation
okay VR. Though. But this was supposed to be that game changer, This is what everybody was talking about for years.
It's done way better than Kinect, so we can. Say
that's true.
It's doing better, but I agree with both of you guys that it's a weird type of gray area right now. It's not like something with like PlayStation's PS Vita or whatever. I think it has a good marketplace on PC, but I think console VR it's going to have to be around for a good little chunk of years and still have support to be able to stay in a relevancy. You know what I'm saying?
For what I need for it, and it goes back to what the Xbox One X is that we need some sort of an exclusive to make me want to play it. Like, I've played plenty of VR, like a lot of VR, and there's so many. Like, it's fun. It's very disorienting after you've played for so long, but there's nothing that's really that game that like I need to experience. Like, I know that they've adapted like Resident Evil, they've adapted Final Fantasy, they've adapted all these other ones. Well, those are all just gimmicks.
Yeah. Well, like if you play, Elder Scrolls, what's it? Skyrim. If you play if you play Skyrim, it's immersive. Like, it's a very immersive game. It's very good VR for the most part, unless you're floating. But that's just Bethesda games sometimes. Yeah. But it's about as close as I've seen to like real immersion, especially on the console that I've enjoyed. But that's the problem, though, is like not every game needs to be developed that way. No. There's experiences that can be made for VR, and I've talked to many VR developers. It's something I'm very fascinated about. And the ones that are successful don't really do what you think they should be doing. Like, they don't go and make a Zelda game or, you know, whatever. But they don't do that. They go and make something that really fits into the tools that are necessary to creating a story and gameplay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could look at like CodeSync for our friends at CodeSync for sure. I mean, that's a great example right there.
They know what the hell they're doing.
Oh, absolutely, they do, and they've made a great life out of it. But, you know, going back to the idea of playing Skyrim on VR, like, I'm sorry, I cannot own that game any more times than I've already owned it. Like, that game, I know. The whole Bethesda re-release of Skyrim every single other month is the most frustrating thing ever.
I have to admit, I want it for Switch when I get a Switch again. Like,
fine, that's fine. Yeah, now I can take it on the go. Like,
no toilet. It's purely for toilet play.
God,
so
like, just
you know what's funny is we talked about that on the podcast last night too. TJ said you get all excited about E3. You go walking in, you hear the choir in the background. It's like you turn to the right and there's a dragon. You're like, what is that? It's like Skyrim remastered. This time, this time you can feel the grass on your toes. I'm like,
bro, check out the water though. Like, it's even more clear.
Yeah, it's more clear than ever before.
Like, when there's blood in there, like, bro, it's like you can't even drink it, but you can now drink it.
I am a Bethesda freak. As you guys know, that's actually, I think that's where we met through QuakeCon and all this stuff. I've gone to QuakeCon 8 years or 7 years in a row. I am a huge Bethesda fan. I've played Skyrim so much, it's ridiculous. But I totally agree, man. I mean, it's past that point. You know, it's gotten into that area that it's like, okay, we've released it enough. Now let's focus on something else.
The re-release PSVR re-release that comes with Devin, the intern, that sprays you in the face with water, mists of water. That's the one I'm looking for.
I love last year being at the Bethesda press conference and just, you know, watching, you know, Pete talk about everything, and you're getting so excited about what's going to happen, and you're like, oh my God, this is the year. This is the year they're gonna announce Elder Scrolls 6. This is gonna be it. All right, here we go. And then all of a sudden you hear that chime, that and you're like, oh yeah, all right, we're getting into it. Yes, okay. And it's like those Skyrim chants, and then all of a sudden it's like Skyrim on Elder Scrolls Legends, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Then on Switch and then on PSVR. But we did get Link costume that I could already use on the
that's
Xbox
true.
version.
There was a chest and all that.
So.
Bro, they come out at E3 this year. They're like, we got something in the Elder Scrolls genre we think you're excited about. And you hear some new music. You're like, oh, my God, it's happening. It's like Skyrim is coming to Vita. You're like, it's not even supported anymore. What are we doing?
Skyrim to Xbox One X.
I'm like, oh my God, bro.
I need an NES version. That's the last version I buy.
It's like 16-bit, 8-bit. It's like we've redone Skyrim in the retro aspect.
It's the Benjamin Button of gaming. That's just
I'll do you two better. Old school black and white Game Boy.
Yes. I'm down. Oh my God.
You have to have the light on top. That's God. I'd probably buy that. But still, okay. But I think the last thing I had was I want to be surprised this year. Like
that would surprise you.
It would surprise me, especially if Devin was involved. But I want that Fallout 4 moment that we had a few years ago, where it's like, hey, we made Fallout 4 and it's coming out in a few months. Like, I want that moment, and we really haven't. Have we had that since then? Like, we kind of go in and kind of know already what's going to be shown.
Remember last year,
God of War. God of War was a surprise.
Yeah, that's true. That was true.
Everyone freaked out about that.
Didn't help last year. I ended up sitting next to the people talking about PlayStation, what they were going to show right before the show, and I was like,
yeah, that's definitely not helpful. Like, bro, I was spoilers.
Like, well, I'm not going to be surprised, and I can't talk about this yet, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we have hit the end of Eric's list, and it's time to find out what PS1 game we chose to be on our deserted island with. All right, let's start with you, Eric. This is your list. What game would you like to see?
Chrono Cross.
Ooh, good one. Very good one. All right, Caleb?
Metal Gear Solid 1.
Oh, yeah, classic.
Yep.
Classic. I was wrestling between Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and Final Fantasy VII. And then I thought to myself, what is the greatest...
weird mental image, by the way.
It really is.
All those things.
Wrestling with all of them.
Crash he's a good wrestler. But I would have to go with Final Fantasy VII, man. That's one of my all-time favorites. And yeah, I would love to see that make its way on PS4, which is something we might see a little bit later, but we'll talk about that.
Actually, it is on PS4.
Oh yeah, the PS1 classic.
Yeah. But I'm talking about
one game.
Yeah. You do get trophies.
Yeah, it's true. So let's get into celebs. Let's talk about you, Caleb.
Okay.
We talked about Eric wanting an Xbox One X price drop. Now you want a PlayStation Plus or Sony to have a price drop.
Yeah. So Sony, I want Sony to announce a price drop for PlayStation Now and bundle it with PlayStation Plus, and more or less in the aspect to kind of balance out the price. You can do with PlayStation Now, you can do $100 for an entire year, or you can do the horrible aspect of $19.99 a month. Now, me particularly in the area that I live in, I have actually really good internet. I think I get like 170 meg download, and I live in a really small, I live in a town of like 18,000 people, so it's a pretty small area, and it's crazy that when I play this, I mean, it works so well, but there's so many things that are wrong with it. And a really good friend of mine, Hip Hop Gamer, him and me have known each other for quite some time. We've talked about the updates that need to come to PlayStation Now. The things that I would like to see with these updates is not only just this bundle with the PlayStation Plus service, but the ability to be able to live stream these games. If there's a total of almost 600 plus games supposedly on PlayStation Now that you can get if you subscribe to it on a yearly basis, and you can't record anything, you can't live stream anything. There's no type of No pictures, nothing. And I mean, that would be such a big deal for not just, me, but it would be a big deal for content creators, live streamers, and that would be a really big thing to kind of push against, this backwards compatibility that Xbox has of them saying, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. To your point, I think there's actually there's going to be competition that's going to force Sony's hand to do this, and it's going to come from an unlikely source, and that's Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Because with the Nintendo Switch Online, they're coming out with 20 NES games at launch, and you can play it and you can stream it. Your friends can watch you play it online. All these other things that aren't on this PlayStation now, all of that. So I think Nintendo's eventually going to force Sony's hands to do that.
I am very curious though about the Nintendo thing. I'm just curious to see how far their leash is for content creators. But like you said, I mean, I'm not someone who takes a lot of pictures in games. But but that has been one of my things is like I keep hitting the button when I'm playing a PS Now game. I want to like stream. I want to record. I want to do stuff. And it's just it needs to be content creator friendly. It really does.
I mean, and with us living in this like severe digital age now, I'm a big digital guy. All my movies and stuff are digital. All my games are digital. I feel it's easier for me to not just watch the movies and stuff that I have on my digital services through not just my PlayStation, on my TV, my phone, wherever I go, but also playing these games as well. It's easier for me to kind of transfer it back and forth in between the two PS4s that we have in the house. So I just like the aspect of this digital age that we're moving into, and this is something that needs to be dealt with. And I heard from a pretty reliable source that this year there's supposedly supposed to be some changes coming to the PlayStation Now service, and I really hope that's true. So
it's a $20 price hike, and
right,
it's
a $20 price hike, and they're like, we're taking about 400 games away from it. We're leaving
It's nothing but Chrono Cross. So that's it.
Oh my god!
I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
Oh, so Caleb, what other ones do you have?
Obviously, I think me and Matt are pretty stoked about this. My wife actually got me into this game series. I've never been a really big fan of it until I watched her play through it. Kingdom Hearts 3 release date. It's too long.
Absolutely.
We need the date now. It needs to happen.
Oh my god!
November 17th, 2018. That's my guess.
It's a great guess. It really is, and it's probably true, or at least you're in that ballpark. But oh my god, like seriously, I need this. I need them to stop saying 2018, 2017, like summer in development. Like I went back because Square Enix announced that they were doing a press conference this year or a showcase, which is great because they haven't done it in 3 years. I went back and watched the 2015 showcase for Square Enix to do research. It's terrible in the fact that you look how it is now, and it's very different, and it's all about the games, and it's less about people going up on stage and talking about the games. But it was like, man, 3 years ago it said now in development, and you're like, oh.
At that time you're thinking it's about to come out, baby. Give it 2 years, it's coming. Nope, not at all.
No,
we're lied to. All of us, but I'm more or less excited for a release date. Like, I'm going to play the game. I think this is going to be definitely the best Kingdom Hearts to come out year to date. Obviously, it better be, Jesus. But my wife is a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, so she's a huge Disney fan in general, and I'm just excited to not just for me to enjoy it, but for her to enjoy it as well. But next up on my list. I'll actually bring up the bottom one. New console teases. I don't think anyone in their right mind actually thinks they're a new console will be shown off this year, or even really particularly announced this year. But I would like to hear some of these companies, if it's just Sony, kind of come out and hint like, hey, this is probably going to happen. next year. So
as long as we don't have what we had 2 years ago with Xbox, we're like, hey, this is the Xbox One S. Oh, by the way, next year we have a more powerful system coming.
Dude, it was so crazy. I remember watching the press conference, and they're like, Xbox One S, 4K visuals, all this other stuff. By the way, next year, super powerful console, way better than the Xbox One S. I'm like,
and true 4K, and I was like, bro, you just slandered your other console.
I swear, he said that, and I remember pausing the video, and I looked at a friend of mine that was over here. I'm like, did they literally just cut off their sales for the Xbox One S? They really just destroyed their sales.
It was insane. Like, I remember seeing that and being like, oh my God, they tripped over themselves. Like, why would they go off and, like, start this whole thing and just tell everybody about this great new affordable Xbox only to end up being like, hey, by the way, save your money. It's going to be a lot better one. Like,
it was bad, bro. You know, you think about it, it was kind of, it was almost, you know, they had two bad press conferences almost in a row, and it was and I think Microsoft is now getting back to that point of being, you know, better. But I mean, the worst one we all know, dude. I mean, and it was such a good press conference, and at the end, whenever Phil Spencer was like, the Xbox One is going to launch at $499, and everybody just sat there. It was just like. And then Sony had theirs later and said $399 is what our console. And I mean, it was an uproar. You know, $100 is a big deal. And I honestly think Sony just took advantage of it. They were like, if they announce it at $499, we're saying $399. I think it was a kind of a spur of the moment thing. But either way, that's a whole nother topic, I'm sure. So
it is funny that you say that you want some new console teases. That's what you want to see, because Dustin, he completely disagrees with you on his what he wants to see. He puts consoles, I don't want them. Like, he doesn't want a new console. And I have to agree. Look, I love new consoles. Don't get me wrong. I think they're amazing. They're incredible feats of technology. But at the same time, it's like you get to the PS4. All I have is a PS4 and a Nintendo Switch, obviously. But I feel like my Nintendo, my PS4 is in its prime right now.
It is.
Like, I've got so many games. I'm so backlogged. And then, like, for them to just be like, by the way, guys, PS5, I'd be like, shut up. I mean, just go back.
We are hitting that time period where, you do hit a golden age of a console, and we're hitting that 5-year mark. I think it is the 5-year mark, if I remember right.
Yeah. That's right.
So it is hitting up against the wall. There are times in God of War where I've seen it on a pro, and I've seen it, played it on regular, and you do see where the pro is almost necessary at certain frame rates and certain things.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see if we're going to keep doing the cell phone iteration where, like, next year it's not a PS5, but it's a PS4 Pro, or,
Pro X.
Pro X 1. It's like, it forms Voltron. But, I'm waiting for something like, I'm kind of wondering if we're going to keep doing this cell phone iteration, like, just keep upgrading for a while. Because the last console cycle was really long, if y'all remember, compared to other generations.
Yeah. I'm going to kind of call my shot here. And when they announced the PlayStation 5, I'm going to call my shot and say that Death Stranding is the launch title with it. Because it's such a nutty game that nobody knows anything about, but it's still Kojima. And it's something that people will clamor for and will buy, like, whatever. They don't give a damn, even though it's really just a weird fever dream from Kojima.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's because I think it's such an ambitious game that they're creating that it would be something that would need the most sophisticated gaming console ever.
Yeah. Deep down, I really hope, though, when we boot it up, it's just Skyrim. Like, that would be...
Well, see, and that'll lead into my next my next one. Death Stranding and Cyberpunk 2077 release date. I actually have to disagree with Matt. I truly almost 100% believe that Death Stranding is coming out probably next May or April. for the PS4.
That'd be cool.
But and I also, I mean, with both of these games, Death Stranding is something that we have no clue what's going on. No. It's a Kojima game, and I'm totally down for buying anything that Kojima makes. I'm a huge Kojima fan. I will buy any game if it's My Pretty Pony Pinkie Pie Party 77. And dude, Kojima is a producer. I am totally down for it.
You realize that, right? Like,
if Kojima made it, it would be so dark.
Unicorns stabbing each other and like black tar coming out of their hearts. Like, it would make no sense.
This game is nuts. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm really excited about. They're saying that it's going to be more expansive than The Witcher. It's going to be a larger world than The Witcher, which is just like mind-boggling to me. I don't know how it's going to be. But it's the same thing with that. It's the same thing with Cyberpunk and Death Stranding. We don't really know what's going on with the games. Like, we've seen more with Death Stranding than what we have with Cyberpunk. But I think both of them are going to be fantastic.
There's so much goodwill off of Witcher. It's just kind of like it doesn't really matter at this point. We're going to buy it. Like, it's just that way.
Yeah, totally agree, man. And lastly on my list. Supposedly, Blue Point Games has an unannounced classic remake. I did a full walkthrough of Shadow of the Colossus Remastered. Love the game. I mean, they did such a good job remastering this game. It was ridiculous. It felt like a completely new experience. And supposedly, they're doing an unannounced classic remake that it's a game that millions of gamers are eagerly anticipating. So. Now there's two things. Originally when this news broke, I talked about it on the podcast, saying there's a very big possibility it's going to be Eco. Now in the back of my head, in the very back of my mind, and in the depths of my soul, I really hope that it is a full-on 100% remaster of Metal Gear Solid 1.
That would be amazing.
Love that.
They've kind of like, there's been talks about this. A lot of people have wanted a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake and remaster. We did get that with Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes on the GameCube.
Still a great version.
A really great version. But everything that happened with Silicon Knights, I think.
Oh, God.
Everything that happened with them, it was a totally ridiculous thing that happened of this copyright and all this other crap. And the studio was horrible at the time. So they did a great game for Konami, but I just please, gaming gods, if you're listening to me now, I'm going to get a little somber. Please bring this game to us in the Metal Gear Solid tone, Colonel. Please bring this game to us, please. Let it happen.
Oh my God! If it happened, I swear, like it would be a moment where all of us would be like. Caleb?
I'll lose it, bro.
I'll bring the defibrillator.
Yes, I'll need it because I will totally lose it. If it's officially announced that it's actually happening, then I'll lose it. But either way, no matter what the game is, I think Blue Point will do a great job. So.
Yeah, and I remember watching.
Konami needs to make some money.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they definitely didn't make any off of Metal Gear Survive.
Oh, bro.
I remember watching Shadow of the Colossus Remastered, your stream, and it was gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And if you haven't checked it out, you definitely need to go check out the entire playlist. You can check that out on the Second Opinion Productions YouTube. You can check out that as well as all of his other ones that Soleb has been working on, especially the latest one, which was God of War.
Yeah, those are good.
It's very good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to get into my list real quick. We've already talked about Kingdom Hearts 3, so I'm going to, kind of push that one to the side. But I have a couple other ones from Square Enix that I'm really, really excited about. And Square Enix, the fact that they waited 3 years to show us a showcase means something. It means it's huge. Because you look at what they did 3 years ago, like all the entire games lineup that they had, right. And it was, and if history is any indication, this is going to be huge because 3 years ago they had Just Cause 3, Nier Automata, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Kingdom Hearts 3, World of Final Fantasy, the episodic Hitman game, Hitman Online, Final Fantasy 15, Star Ocean, Integrity and Faithfulness, and Deus Ex: Mankind Divided.
Which, and 90% of that stuff I played and I loved. So
yeah, and only 2 of those games did not come out within those 3 years. So the fact that they waited 3 years is huge. So we know we're getting Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, definitely, and Tomb Raider, of course.
Yeah, we know those. Yeah. We know we're getting Final Fantasy VII Remake. They have to show us something. Like, I would love to get some sort of release date, but honestly, I just want an update, okay? I don't care. Like, just give me an update, and then maybe at the end of it, you could put, like, spring 2019 release date or something. It's
still going to be episodic, right? That's the last I heard.
Yeah. That's what they're saying, but if you guys don't remember, there was supposedly some pretty bad news that happened recently now this is speculation and rumors, but it was talked about all across the industry that a lot of the production that was done on this game so far was pretty much trash. It was not up to the company's standards, and a lot of the work that was put into the game was pretty much deleted. So I don't know, bro.
Spring 2020.
2020. PS5 exclusive.
Now. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Part one, which is only like 20 minutes, but still, it's a really cool 20 minutes. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we'll see something.
I'm sure Square Enix can compile a trailer together.
I can guarantee you this. I guarantee you this. We'll see something Final Fantasy-esque at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would surprise me if we didn't see Final Fantasy VII gameplay. I mean, it really would. But I still think I kind of somewhat agree with, even though we were joking a bit, I do kind of believe that it's not going to come out until late 2019, maybe early 2020. So
I can see that.
I could say that too.
And
but there is a game that no one talks about that I think is fascinating, and I think will be the main event of Square Enix. Because I think they're going to open with like Kingdom Hearts 3. Because screw it. It's going to be like, we know, you know, whatever. You're going to get Kingdom Hearts 3. So, I think the main event is going to be the Avengers project.
Oh, yeah.
Because Square Enix I forgot about that. Signed a deal with Marvel like several years ago.
Yep.
And they had like a 3-game deal. And the first one is the Avengers project. And since that announcement, we've literally seen nothing.
Yep.
No trailers, no images, no gameplay, nada.
Well, that's because of that, you know. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
No spoilers, but just look it up.
But like this is why. Like you give us an entire like hour and a half to focus entirely on Square Enix. They're gonna show us something for this.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
It's just gonna be Dave the just sitting there.
You and Dave the intern. Oh my god.
You know what? You've been to E3. There's a lot of those there.
It's true.
There's a lot of guys that look like are people that look like they're in deer in headlights, and they like you ask them questions, and they go, "Here's the card. I don't know." Just
every time, I swear, every time it's like, "Hey man, I'd like to talk to this person." Wait in line. What? Yeah. No.
And
you can either talk to me or you can wait in the line. Yeah, he's got like Kojima's he's got a printout of Kojima's face like taped onto him. He's like, play the game. I'm like, you're not Kojima.
Listen, bro, we don't know who the hell you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Square Enix Avengers Project, that's the one that I think will be the highlight of the Square Enix press conference. And if it's not there, then whatever.
Yeah.
So I should have added this to my list, but it was something I thought about whenever we were talking about Caleb's list about Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I want to see gameplay.
Yes.
Like, I'm cool, like, whatever. I've seen 3 cinematic trailers. Give me some gameplay.
If it's coming out this year, we'll see gameplay. If we don't see gameplay, it's not coming out this year. That's pretty much...
I don't expect it to come out this year. I think it's a next year title.
I think it's so close to the marketing time period for fall. I don't know. I just can't see it coming out this year. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. And we've also got, you got to think we've got Red Dead, possibly Kingdom Hearts.
Exactly. It's so clustered right now. I mean, shoot, look at September alone with all the games that are coming out. I mean, you have Tomb Raider, you have Spyro, and you have Spider-Man all coming out within weeks of each other.
And another Yakuza.
So it's like they really don't need to have this for 2018. They could really wait for it to be a part of the 2019 docket. But so speaking of gameplay, that's something I want to see from The Last of Us 2. I don't care about a release date for The Last of Us 2. I'm fine without it. But you look at what Sony has done the last few years. Mm-hmm. You had 2 years ago God of War. With their first announcement of God of War, we saw gameplay. That was all we saw, which was amazing. And then you look at Days Gone. We've seen nothing but gameplay.
And Days Gone got delayed, so
it did. But still, we saw a bunch of gameplay, and I'm fine with the game getting delayed if it means that we get a better product.
Absolutely.
But then you look at Last of Us 2. We've seen 2 trailers at this point, and one was just of Ellie just singing a song, playing a guitar. And then the other one was with a whole bunch of characters that we have no idea what the hell is going on. Like, it was a very Death Stranding type of trailer where we're like, what is happening?
Oh, and it got a lot of flack, too. Like,
it sure did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So ridiculous. I'm sorry. It was such a ridiculous amount of flack. I mean, come on.
The violence, that you have an issue with that? Have you not played, like, every other game? So
I never understood that. Like, really? That's what you guys are getting bent out of shape for? Like, is it because it wasn't just in the game and it was hidden within the game? Like,
did you not play the first Tomb Raider? That poor girl.
Bro, those death scenes. God dang.
Yeah, they were rough.
Yeah, they were.
But yeah, so I want to see Last of Us 2 gameplay. I would love to see, like, where we are in this zombie apocalypse at this point, because that's another thing we haven't really seen yet.
Yeah, true.
Can we do something, though, this E3? Like, I mean, even if it's just water, can we do, like, a post-apocalyptic drinking game? Like, anytime they mention that, can we just take a drink of something?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because last year I would have gotten so drunk at the Xbox press conference.
Oh, my God. You are not kidding.
In a post-apocalyptic world. Yeah, well, I love Metro. I will fully love Metro.
I'll agree. Metro's great. But you had Metro, you had Anthem, you had, what other ones? Like a whole bunch of indie titles were post-apocalyptic.
I'm kind of getting nervous.
Every year they have a zombie game.
I'm kind of getting nervous because everyone seems to want this post-apocalyptic thing to happen. So
it's like they've seen it and they're like, man, guys, this is going to be great.
I just have to, sometimes I have to just go play Flower just so I can, like, I don't need any more
wake up from the horrendous, death that's all around us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So speaking of Anthem, that's also on my list. I want to see a little bit more from Anthem, especially after what they announced, or not what announced, but what they came out with. And that they basically diverted all of BioWare's resources to the development of Anthem, and they put a lot of eggs in this basket. I want to see something that's really going to push that envelope, that's going to make me feel like I need to buy this game over, like, Destiny.
The thing with Anthem is I've felt like I've been burnt too many times by EA. I mean, really, the only series I really buy is Battlefield. With EA now.
Honestly, it's the best title they have.
It is. Yeah. Battlefield 1 was amazing. But a shout out to the people that watch us. We always capture the D. But anyway, with the stuff that happened with Battlefront, I mean, that left a huge, like, a terrible taste. And I know that there was a lot of reworking with Anthem probably after that. I'm damn sure they were like, oh, these Loot Crate things, maybe we need to rethink this a little bit. I'm hoping. But with the game itself, they're going to have to sell me. They really are going to have to sell me. I love BioWare, but...
Yeah. But BioWare hasn't had a great title
BioWare
in years.
BioWare
well, I mean, Mass Effect Andromeda was horrendous. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Even my friend Bolts, that does podcast with us, he is a huge BioWare guy. I cannot tell you how many times he has played Mass Effect 2 and 3. I mean, literally, this dude has logged so many hours on those two titles. It's ridiculous. He even pushed through Anthem I'm sorry, Andromeda, and said, "Oh, there's good parts about Andromeda." I really tried with Andromeda, bro, and I just couldn't, dude. It did not feel like a BioWare game.
The doctors are gone for one thing, but that's part of it. But actually, I was doing a thing on Twitter. It was like, hey, can Disney take back Star Wars and just go ahead and take Mass Effect 2? Like, give it to Ubisoft or somebody. Like,
hey, bro, give Mass Effect. Hey, give Mass Effect back to Microsoft.
Yeah.
How about that?
God.
If it would have stayed on Microsoft,
exclusive.
I think it probably would have been a really great title. But
we know how that's how it works.
Yep. So let's switch gears. I've got a whole Nintendo section, but I'm going to switch gears to one other one, and it's really more of I've called my shot every year. And you know what? I'm doing it again. Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be announced because look at it. Wolfenstein 2 came out. You had The Evil Within 2. You had Skyrim come out in 80 frickin' different formats. It's too early for Fallout 5. So what does Bethesda have to show? It's Elder Scrolls 6. And this is that time where everybody's just like over, just like hoping for Elder Scrolls 6. So this is that moment where Bethesda loves to strike because they did it with Fallout 4. Nobody expected Fallout 4 to be announced. And then boom, we were all shocked and excited. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to spoil it for you. Elder Scrolls 6. It's getting announced.
I'll bring a handkerchief with me that I can hold your tears in for later.
It's happening. They've already said they're working on it.
Well, I'm sure they are. I mean, how well is the MMO doing? Like, is it actually doing really well?
It's doing all right. It's doing better now. Since the updates, and they just launched Somerset Isles, and I think it's doing better. I mean, being somebody that played it in its like alpha stage, it's a lot.
Trash.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot better.
I could totally see them making a Fallout MMO that could be announced.
Yeah, I could see that. But you got to remember too, guys. ZeniMax owns Bethesda, but they also own many other studios.
Exactly.
Machine Games, Battlecry Studios has just been repurposed as Bethesda Austin. What's crazy with Battlecry is we all played Battlecry. Do you remember? I don't know if you guys do.
I remember.
We played it at QuakeCon, and it actually wasn't too bad of an experience.
No.
It was okay, but I mean, at the time, it wasn't nearly as good as what it could have been.
I think it was forgettable, and I think they were trying to push it as an esports type of game. But that studio has just been completely repurposed. But then they have Arcane. They have all different types of studios under their helm. So there's a lot of different
left, right?
Yeah. But there's a lot of things that could be announced. Obviously, me being a Skyrim and Elder Scrolls fan in general, of course, I would love to see an Elder Scrolls 6. But I would highly doubt it. I mean, it would be awesome, but I would highly doubt it.
Your doubts, all of your doubt, is fueling that this is going to happen. Like, this is
okay.
Bethesda's listening right now, and they're like, "Okay, cool, we're good. Never mind. These other guys, he's been overruled. So obviously, nobody's going to expect Elder Scrolls 6, and then boom, they're going to announce it. And then meanwhile, the camera is then going to pan to me in the audience, and they're going to be like, he knew! And I'm going to be like, I knew! And everybody's going to look around in shame. It's all going to happen.
You guys just keep telling me that Shenmue 3 won't come out, and maybe it'll work the same way on my direction.
If they were made by Bethesda.
Oh, God, no. I love Bethesda, but Like that would be
Shenmue 3 in Skyrim. I'm like,
oh my god, I've got to go look for the skin. I've got to go look for that now. It's got to happen. And walk around. Have you seen the sailors? And just get an axe in your head. That would be the greatest.
That would be awesome. So let's get into my Nintendo time, because Nintendo, I love you, and I love the fact that the Nintendo Switch has revitalized Nintendo and made it the company that everybody is loving again, even if they did make Nintendo Labo, which I still don't get. But anyway, so let's get into the three games. The most pointless thing ever. Three things that...
Skyrim 7. Never mind, whatever.
I mean, yeah, if they remastered it for Labo, I'd be like, yeah, like this.
Oh my god, that would be the most amazing thing.
Oh, this is the dumbest thing ever.
Swords and like, oh yeah, there we go.
You know how much cardboard you'd need to actually make that work?
Well, we actually wanted to do a video like that. It was coming to PlayStation 4 for God of War, and you have like a cardboard Medusa head, like with dripping blood. We were trying so hard to get that made, and we just came up against the wall. That would have been the greatest.
That really would have been the
that
best.
would have been awesome.
All right, so I've got three games that I want to see on Nintendo's Nintendo Direct for E3, and I know for a fact we're going to get something for Super Smash Bros. Switch. Yeah. And that's because, I mean, they've already announced that they had their own little Direct that they talked about Super Smash Bros. So we're good on that. We know that's happening. But there are two other ones that I would love to see. We know that they're working on a Pokemon Switch game. I don't need like a release date. I don't need anything like that. But at least a trailer for it would be really cool to see. At least to know which region we're in.
I swear to God, if it's just another remake of Sun and Moon, like the Sun and Moon Plus, I'm gonna freak out though.
I agree.
I can't, especially with that one girl in that game. I can't do it again. Like,
it is their Skyrim. Sun and Moon are their Skyrim.
True.
And then another one I want to see is Mario Party Switch. Now, I mean, with Nintendo, it's one of those things where it's like they don't really need to show you anything. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this one's more of a long shot that we'll even get anything for it, because I feel like it's something that they'll be like, oh, after E3, like 8 months down the road, they'll be like, hey guys, we're working on Mario Party 11.
It'll be Metroid. Metroid will be a big thing they show.
I think Metroid is going to be the main event for that, because they at least announced that last year.
Yeah, and North America, well, everybody but Japan seems to love Metroid. So, I mean, it's okay in Japan, but for some reason it's always done better in the West.
Oh, yeah.
So...
yeah, I think just the moment everybody figured out that Samus was a woman was that game-changing moment for them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right, guys. So we invite you guys to check out the rest of the E3 2018 What We Want to See article on Cinelinx.com right now. And you can read the other entries from like Jordan, who obviously gets into Star Wars, and Dustin as well, who obviously gets into Star Wars. So let's go and switch gears over to what do you want to see yourself accomplish at this year's event? And we started with Eric before, but I now want to go with our newbie. Let's talk to our rookie that's going to be joining us on his first trip to E3. Outside of getting over the initial shock of it all, what do you want to see yourself accomplish at this year's event?
Well, I'm a big networker. I've always been a big people person. Networking is one of my biggest things. I love social media, and that's one of my biggest accomplishments. Meeting some new people, meeting some other people out in the industry. I love it every year. Anytime I go to an event, I always bring way too many business cards, and I try to connect with as many people as possible. And E3 has always been something that I've wanted to go to, and especially not just in the aspect of just getting, I'm not the type of person that I'm not a brown noser. I'm not the type of person that's going to go out and be like, oh yeah, I do this and I do all kinds of stuff in the industry. I'm the type of person that, I've always tried to help people as much as possible. I'll give somebody the shirt off my back if I have to. And that's how it is in the industry. You know, whenever I first started Second Opinion, we were our original logo was taking over the Global One podcast at a time. And what I would usually try to do is we had a network of trying to build up podcast, of helping people start podcast, you know, funding them as much as possible. If it even came down to me, myself personally, taking my own money and buying them games so they could talk about the stuff, that's what I would do at that time. And, you know, that's how it is. Anytime I go to an event, I try to network and I try to do cross-platform stuff or cross-promotional stuff. And I'm really big about that, as you guys know. And, you know, just networking in general. And obviously, one of my biggest accomplishments that I want to make sure to do while I'm at E3 is if I freaking see Logan Paul's face, I want to completely shun and turn away without reacting as any normal human being would. So that's
if I see him, I'm going to go up and give him the Godfather kiss. Yeah. You know, and just
I will be behind him with a shank.
Yes. It will leave Horsehead in his bed, but
it's going to be one of those Assassin's Creed moments whenever you're just like, you do the kiss and it's like, you know,
I'll throw coins and and
then all of a sudden, you know, it's just like, hey buddy, how's it going? All right, I'm going to go that way.
And then you see Matt trying to scour up the freaking Bethesda booth, but it's just, I can give you a hint. Because I love, you know, talking to people obviously in the industry and I do brown nose a little bit, but there's one thing I learned a couple of years ago. I saw a guy, you're talking about bringing too many cards. I saw this guy and he looked like he was like collecting baseball cards from like the 1980s, you know, when we used to collect huge amounts of them. Yeah. And I walked up to him and he put his hand out. I think he was with Square. He just put his hand out for a card, and I shook his hand, and he just looked so shocked, like whoa, you know, that people time. When you actually connect with them first, and then that is E3 is such a crazy thing. Trying to make that connection is so important, and
it's even nuttier. It's crazier now that they've included the public now, so it makes those interactions harder to do.
I apologize. Last year I called them the unclean. I'm very sorry. I apologize.
You said that a lot.
I was very angry, and of course I was much bigger and tired, so it was like trying to get through lines was worse. But they've made it a little bit easier for press. So that's
this year it's going to be a lot. Easy. I feel like this year is going to be great. Like I've already kind of lined up our schedule for the most part, and honestly, I feel like most of our coverage is going to be super easy, and we'll actually get done rather early. So before we get to Eric, I'm switching up. I'm shuffling up the order here. I would like to. I think I said this a little bit last year. Was getting more access. And I think we accomplished that for the most part. Like I think we got a good amount of access. But I think one thing that because I do a lot of self-reflection every year, I think networking is a big thing that I would like to accomplish more of this year as well. And then the other thing would be more gameplay. Because I think last year that was something with the public and trying to balance out everything. Yeah. I mean, heck, my brother went and he stood in line for 4 hours in order to just play like 2 minutes of Wolfenstein 2. And he said it was like the worst thing he's ever experienced. So I think it would be really like that's one thing that I really want to do more of is more gameplay. And every year that I go to E3, and last year I wasn't able to actually be at E3 just because, you know, I was having a honeymoon. Every year I've been to E3 though, I've prided myself on being the person that gets like the most gameplay. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to accomplish this year with whatever games they have on the floor. Because at this point, like this is the one of the most unpredictable E3s that I feel like we've ever been to. So that's like I have no idea what's going to be on the floor. Yeah. So whatever's on the floor, I'm excited for.
Half the studios aren't even in the center anymore. So
I know. I mean, EA is going to be at their new spot, which I'm looking forward to being at EA's because I know that they're going to show off Anthem. Yeah. And then I know that Microsoft just moved to LA Live or that Microsoft Studio Park, whatever the heck it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is right down the street.
Right there, so it's not that far.
No, it's not too bad. But it's cool though because we get to see how crazy big Sony is going to envelop like their
they always feel cramped. They always feel cramped. So hopefully this year it'll be a little bit.
Apparently Sony and Nintendo are going to get even bigger just because Microsoft isn't there.
It's just like
and
a koi fish.
also, I mean, of course, with I know it has nothing to do with gameplay, but it's already been announced that there's going to be a 7,500 square foot esports thing there. So I mean, that's going to be in the way,
which is great. I love that though because I love that they're finally giving a platform for esports.
Well, last year they did something that I was actually kind of jealous that I didn't get to go do.
Was Nintendo?
Well, no, they had Q&A sessions off-site at different areas.
The E3 Coliseum.
Yeah, and it was like an actual convention, and so some of that stuff I was kind of jealous that I didn't get to go see because it ended up being kind of cool.
Yeah, I heard it was cool, but at the same time, I remember like the second day of it, like I got an email about like all these like do's and don'ts because I guess they had so many issues with it on the first day.
Yeah, I had the choice of going to that or playing Call of Duty World War II with Aaron against a Disney Channel celebrity, and I kept shooting him in the face. And so that was way more fun. So
I the whole E3 Coliseum thing, I think it's a cool thing.
It gets them out of the freaking center. So
yes and no. But the problem I feel like is that E3 in and of itself is a very limited thing because you won't be able to play everything. You won't be able to experience everything you want to experience. You won't be able to meet everybody you want to meet. Yeah. Just because there's so many people, it's so spread out, and there's so many things to do. Yeah. So you add into the fact that EA is gone. EA is on its whole other place. You have Microsoft in a whole other place. So now that's already pulling people in other directions. And then you've got this E3 Coliseum thing. So now, we got more people being pulled to other like locations. Yeah. So it's like there's so many things to do that by the time you remember, oh wait, I'm here to play video games, the time's already passed, or like you walk into that the convention center and there's like millions of people in there. So that's kind of my problem with E3 Coliseum. Like it's a cool idea, but it's just
it's not for us.
There's just too many things.
Yeah. Yeah, there really is. And that's the thing is the thing that I've worried for the last several years is the fact that it's so big now. E3. Is it kind of toppling in on itself? And I think it looks this year, though, like they have things a little more sturdy as far as the sales itself, the like how many tickets they sold, and like the scheduling and all that. So I'm really hoping maybe it is a good thing that everybody moved out like a little bit. So
spread out a little bit, added in a press hour. I think it's going to be easier for us to type of to kind of navigate. I did read a good little chunk about the last two. Was it 2016 was the first one that did the press or did the
No, it was last year.
Was it last year? Was that the first time they did it public? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear very good things, which I've always been the type of person that goes to specifically just public events. So I'm kind of more or less used to that. I've never been used to the whole, industry only event. So
consider this, Caleb. When we went, like this is our fourth year, I think. Going.
Yeah.
The first 2 years, it was jam packed.
Yeah.
And it was just industry people.
Yeah.
And so then you take that amount of people, and then you add about thousands of more people. And there's no like separate lines for press. There's no like separate anything. There's no separate times.
Yeah.
And it's just a cluster. It really is.
It's that networking that we did was the only way. The first 2 years was the only way that we got into some of the stuff. That was it.
Yeah. And there were some things where we were making deals on the side, like because I was on my honeymoon things, but I was still working with the home team with Jordan, and we were making deals to try and get Eric and Aaron into like other different things, so that way they could play games without having to wait in line. Yeah. And so like at the last minute, we were like, Eric, get here. Go to this place. Aaron, go here. Go to this place.
We were so tired. We were so exhausted. It was just like, go play this game about a mouse. And I was like, and I wish I had now, but it was like, oh my God. No, it's literally at the other side of the frickin' where I'm at. I can't move. I can't move. Like, I'm sitting here with my lunch and I'm just not moving. Like, I'm sorry.
It's nuts. It really is. Eric, like, let's finish off with you. What do you want to see yourself accomplish this year?
Well, every year there is either an interview or a meeting that I always want to accomplish, like some kind of goal. As far as like the first year was Tim Schafer, and so on and so forth. I see Miyamoto every year. I want bare minimum a picture with Miyamoto, and that's a personal thing, but that's what I want. Also, I'm this year, because I'm on both sides, I'm pressed, but I'm also working on my own game. I've tried to secure as much development talk as I can with developers, and I really want to get as many interviews as I can with developers. Because I like to pick their brain, and I like to kind of find out stuff, and I love that creative flow between somebody like that, and that's just so much fun for me.
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
That's kind of my thing now. I feel like is like I love talking to creators and like getting into the real depths, the meat and potatoes of games.
And it's fascinating. It really is.
Yeah. It's such an interesting world. It is, and like Caleb said, it is such a nice world. I've dealt with movies. I've dealt with the music industry. I've dealt with all that stuff. It is cutthroat, and gaming industry does have that in it, mostly in sales and PR. But in the actual like development, it's like, yo, bro, here you want this code? Sure, whatever. I'll give you this code for brick. I mean, I'll do this. Like it's really cool. Like it's just so laid back because they want to play a good game. They want to play good games too. And so it's in their best interest to help you because they want to play games. Because most game developers are hardcore gamers. So that's what I'm really wanting to get into this year is kind of because I'm teetering on both sides so much now to get into that.
I think that's I think those are great goals. I think all of us have really achievable goals.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be a really fun E3 to really get into. Also, I think we all should have this same goal, and that is finding an affordable meal in LA. But let's go over the top 3 pressers that we think will be the best. And since I've given the floor to Eric first, and I've given the floor to Caleb first, I guess I should go first on this one.
Yeah.
So I think the top 3 are going to be number 3, Ubisoft. I'm just so excited for everything that they have to show. And last year they blew me away with their entire lineup, except for that one about like racing and stuff that I was like, please stop talking. Number 2, I would have to say Sony, because Sony's always amazing. Let's be honest. Like everything that they show is incredible. And then the number 1 that I think is going to be the best that I'm mostly excited for, because I'm a fanboy, is Square Enix. So, and if you don't understand why, then clearly you came in and you've been skipping around this podcast. So now, Kayla or Eric, actually, Eric, why don't we go with you? Your top 3 pressers.
See, I'm with Caleb on the Bethesda thing. Like, I love Bethesda. And I mean, last year it got some flack, but I actually I enjoyed pretty much every game they showed. But unless they show something amazing, like Elder Scrolls or something like that, like I don't think that'll be it. So probably
Skyrim and Fast and the Furious.
That would be raw family. That is all family in Dragon. But I think that Number 3 will probably be. I think Microsoft is actually going to do better than people think. Like, I hope Microsoft does better than people think.
Good call.
So that's what I'm hoping is 3 would be Microsoft, then probably Square, and then of course, and then PlayStation. I mean, that's kind of almost feels easy, but it's just probably how it is, unless PlayStation totally like drops the ball. I mean, I'm personally hoping it snows again in the theater, and that would just automatically make it number 1.
That was nuts.
Probably in that order.
I think the only way that they could screw it up is if they announce the PlayStation Pro S and then followed by the PlayStation Pro X, which you're going to have to pay $500 for the following year.
$700, next year.
$700. There you go.
Yeah, $699.
Caleb, what do you want to see? Or what do you think?
I think it's kind of cut and dry. I think it's going to be. I think Microsoft is going to surprise everybody this year. I think Microsoft has got I think they've definitely got their feedback that they need to have exclusive titles. I think Microsoft is going to come out heavy hitting, so they're number 3. Number 2 is it's kind of a hard toss up with number 2, but I would actually probably say number 2 is going to be PlayStation. I think they're going to show off a good chunk of stuff. I think we're going to have some surprises. And of course, because I'm as big as a fan of PlayStation, I'm as big as a fanboy for this company as I am with PlayStation. I would say Bethesda is going to be my number 1. So, I am a huge Bethesda fanboy. I think their press conference is going to be pretty good this year. So
you're going to love their party. I'm just going to say that. Their parties are crazy.
Honestly, it's the highlight of E3 every year. Like, it is.
It's absolutely insane.
Don't get me too excited. Listen, I'm trying, as someone that this is going to be their first E3, I'm going in totally lowballing everything. So I'm lowballing. It's going to be
terrible.
I'm lowballing the experience. I'm lowballing everything, bro. So hopefully, I'm ecstatic to be working with the team that we're going to be doing this year. Just the fact that Second Opinion is able to be a part of the Cinelinx family, and especially with you guys. You know, I've known you guys for quite some time and hold you guys in pretty high regards. So, I'm excited to be working with you guys, and I'm just like, I'm excited about E3, but honestly, I'm excited about the type of content that we're going to be able to create.
Well, because you're so kind, the hazing won't be as bad as it was for Aaron. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Aaron didn't get it. He didn't really give much hazing. Aaron's so chill. Like, he gets
Aaron. There were moments I turned back and looked at Aaron, and I thought his head was going to explode a few times, and then he would just he would soldier on. But it was just like, it is like, it's like Vegas, Disney, and eating a bag of mushrooms the first time you walk in.
It's true.
You've been to show floors before. You've been to Bethesda, to Quake, but it's like nothing. There's nothing.
I mean, I've been to PAX. I've been to all these large,
they're big
events and stuff like that. But I know nothing. I know nothing is as large as E3. E3 is the Super Bowl of gaming. It's the Disney of gaming. So I'm super stoked, man. I'm excited to be working with you guys.
Quite literally, they hire Imagineers to make their booths.
They do.
Some of these,
I'm excited.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to have all of you guys as part of our team. It's gonna make life so easier for Eric and I, because I know the first few years that we did it, it was just it really was tough mudding. Yeah. So now, we have a whole team, a whole crew. We're going to get in there. We're going to rock this thing. And this is going to be the only place that you really want to come back to for your E3 2018 coverage. That is Cinelinx in partnership with Fathergamer and partnership with Second Opinion Productions. We are going to have episodes every day from LA. We're going to be talking. We're going to be having all the breaking news, all reactions, all the coverage from the biggest gaming event of the year. It's going to be insane. We're going to have like a huge social media coverage, and that's going to be in large part to BC, who is like BC, and I know Caleb, you guys are both like really huge in the social media scene. Yeah. So it's going to be insane. We're going to be all over the place starting June 9th until June 14th, really. So, yeah, you guys are going to want to come back here, check it out, and don't forget to follow Cinelinx at Cinelinx on Twitter. Go to the Cinelinx Facebook page and hit that like button. And you know what? Even make Cinelinx your homepage on Cinelinx.com. But let's go ahead and let's finish off Road to E3 2018 Episode 1 on a high note, and let's go ahead and put ourselves over with the Cinelinx audience. So, Caleb, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at S0LEB. That's numeric. Also, find Second Opinion on Twitter as well. That's numeric 2ND Opinion Pro over on Twitter. I'm on that all the time. The Instagrams and all that stuff's all connected. So I'm a big social media guru. Check us out, secondopinionpod.com. Love you guys very much.
Aw, love you too. Eric, where can people find you?
Joe's Truck Stop on 45.
I'll be wearing a yellow
Thursday
poncho.
night. Yeah.
You asked for dancer.
I'll be hanging out with Darren, the intern. No,
you've changed his name 8 times now. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He doesn't. Whatever.
He changes his name. It's Darren David Davis. Darren.
I think he had a Jared at one point too.
He's an intern. Do you really care?
No.
Pretty much. You can find me at Fathergamer at Twitter. You can also find me at Fathergamer on Instagram. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcast. Always mess it up now.
Yeah.
SoundCloud. Are we still on SoundCloud? Kinda.
I just love that he has to ask his producer. Like
Google Play Music. I'm the talent. God damn it. Google Play Music, Spotify, TuneIn Radio. Blah 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 blah. We're on everywhere, and Joe's Truck Stop. And and so I'm excited. I'm really excited, and I can't wait to sink my fingers into another E3. That sounded way worse than I meant.
It really got real creepy. Like,
yeah, he said it. He's like, I'm really ready to sink my fingers into E3.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm only laughing because I'm terrified.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Move the Joystick. I understand that it does seem like a gay euphemism, but it's really more gaming and kind of the gay euphemism.
I told you.
Oh man, it's so great. I say like, yeah, you can find me on Move the Joystick, and they're like, ha, move the joystick, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like like a joystick,
yeah,
like
a joystick
controller. They're like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's a double entendre. It's fine. I'm cool with it. Double meanings. It's cool. It's a fun thing. So, guys, thank you again for joining us. For Caleb, for Eric, I am Matt, and even for BC, which you can follow him on Twitter at RealJackassBC, we say thank you. Join us again for another Road to E3 2018 episode where we're going to be talking about what we don't want to see. All right? We'll catch you guys next time. Later.